In what ways does your music magazine use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real music magazines?
Well, when creating my music magazine, I used the inspiration from Vibe magazine, as they create a bold masthead by using the colour white. So, in the context of my music magazine, I wanted to portray that through the masthead as well, by but however with a twist, by using the monochrome colours to highlight it and make it more defined on the cover of the music magazine. They also show to have bright taglines which highlight the different features of the magazine, and I also portrayed that as well by the use of um, making the taglines bold colours.
So, how does your music magazine represent particular social groups?
Well, my music magazine is targeted for 15 to 20-year-olds, so I decided to portray an urban vibe to my magazine by creating the pictures to be monochrome, as it's shown on the front cover of the model. And I tried to create a sense of uniqueness when manipulating the photos by increasing the brightness of the photo and defining it more, so it shows a sense of more power of the models that they have in the music industry and in the music magazine genre.
Excellent. So, what kind of media institution might distribute your music magazine and why?
Well, I feel like the music institutions that would probably distribute my music magazines are more like very larger chains, as my music magazine is very professional and is structured a certain way that is very neat and very classic but not too over the top. So larger firms such as WH Smith, as they are shown to be very sophisticated and have an upper market sale of sophisticated classic products.
So, who would be the audience for your music magazine?
Well, the audience I'm trying to get at with my music magazine is 15 to 20-year-olds, because of, even though the the style of the magazine seems quite older, it still has that sense of youth to it because of the use of the colours and the boldness and the brightness which attract teenagers that love music and love how it sets that standard of being bright and bold and happy and fun, which I try to portray by using those type colours of of reds and yellows and whites and blacks.
Okay, so how did you attract or address your audience?
Well, I attracted my audience and addressed my audience by basically not creating this magazine to be too grown up and be too not to their standard. So I tried to create. So when choosing like the models' photos, I try to incorporate the headphones, because teenagers of today are shown to be wearing a lot of headphones and earphones, which are quite cool and you don't mostly see on the older target audience. So, and also by using a young model, this also gives the teenager someone to relate to, someone to look up to, and so that they don't feel too out of place with the magazines.
Okay, excellent. So, what have you learned about technologies from the process of constructing this product?
Well, I used a various combination of Publisher and Photoshop. As I found that Photoshop was quite advanced, it kind of made creating the magazine more difficult, as it was very technical, and I felt like that I didn't have the knowledge of how to improve my understanding of Photoshop to progress using it throughout my magazine. So I used a combination of Publisher, as it's shown through the contents page and the double page spread, as it was it was simpler, and it and it gave that sophistication as it was quite structured the way I wanted it to be, and it gave my work a nice, clean finish.
So, lastly, looking back at your preliminary task, what do you feel that you have learned in the progression from it to the full final product?
Well, at the start of my preliminary task, I started off with a pencil drawing, and then I ended up developing my knowledge and understanding of how difficult it can be to create a magazine, how the amount of aspects you would have to look at when creating it, such as the models and how the style of magazine, the poses, and even though it had its difficulties, I felt as if I got more understanding of and appreciation of urban magazines and how much time and effort it takes to create them to become a high standard in the music magazine genre, in the urban music magazine genre.
Okay, thanks very much. That's been really good talking to you.